intense program. It's quite good. I think I have found it quite productive.
So it's worth the flight to come over?
Okay.
So, good afternoon.
No, Foreign Minister. No, this here. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for coming to the closing ceremony. I hope you all have enjoyed the International Conference on Rohingya Crisis in Bangladesh, Challenges and Sustainable Solutions that we've been holding at North-South University for the past 2 days. As we start the program, the teacher in me can't help asking, would you mind raising your hand if you learned one new thing over the past 2 days? Wow! That's what education's all about. Give yourselves a round of applause. Well, we're thrilled to bring this incredible conference to a close in a very special ceremony. So I won't stand talking too long. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guests on the dais. We have Mr. Alistair Bolton, the Assistant Regional Representative from UNHCR. We have Ms. Shoko Ishikawa, the Acting Resident Representative of the United Nations in Bangladesh. We have Mr. Benazir Ahmed, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees of North-South University. We have Dr. Tran Sri Syed Hamid Albar, who was the senior Malaysian government minister in the 1900s and 2000s. We have our chief guest, His Excellency, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen. And we have our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor Atikul Islam. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Alistair Bolton, Assistant Regional Representative from UNHCR, to come up to the dais. He has prior experience in working for human rights in the Executive Office at the Secretary General in New York, and he's here with us from Thailand. Please give him a round of applause.
Very nice to see everybody again. Thank you for coming to this remarkable event. Dr. Lee just called it incredible, and I think that's not to stretch. It's not hyperbole. It really has been a remarkable event. Very, very wide-ranging, 37 sessions, 4 presentations in each. Remarkable. We were asked if we learned things. I learned things. I was going to quote 3 things. I learned the origin of the term Arakan, which I didn't know, from that gentleman there. The plural of ruka, meaning a pillar. That's handy information. I learned about my own organization's Zakat initiative. I had heard of it, of course, but in a presentation today, I learned what it's about and how much money it's generating and how that money is being dedicated and what potential there is for that program. I learned from another presentation about the cost of not letting refugees work while they're in Bangladesh. So it's been a fantastic and illuminating experience. Tremendously well organized, very, very nice meals, and extremely friendly. All you needed to do was look a bit bewildered, and somebody would come up to you and take you by the hand and then help you get to where you were going. And since I look bewildered a large proportion of the time, I was helped a lot, and I'm very grateful for it. It was good. My only complaint or criticism is that in the sessions, there was very little time for discussion. By the time we got through the presentations and had the insights of the discussant, there really wasn't that detailed time for question and answers and discussion, and I think that's a logical next thing to do. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you very, very much to North-South University, to the trustees who have clearly backed and embraced this initiative, Mr. Ahmed, Mr. Islam, who are on the dais, and Dr. Lee, whom I've got to know I think quite well for 2 days, and who's done a fantastic job as convener. I think I want to thank, obviously, the government of Bangladesh, the Foreign Secretary yesterday, the Prime Minister's Special Advisor, Mr. Imam, and the Foreign Minister today, His Excellency, Mr. Momen. And I want to thank you, the 367 participants who have made this really a very special event. A lot of ideas were generated. And the purpose, I think, of an event like this is to identify, generate the evidence to inform policy so that we pursue the right policies, the government, supported by organizations like mine, in furtherance of solutions. The solution to the situation of the Rohingya, as we heard set out yesterday, adumbrated by the former Malaysian foreign minister, who will speak in a few minutes, Mr. Saeed Hamid Alan. What he set out there is really a framework for solutions that I think is echoed in the approaches of my own organization and the broader UN. In essence and at core, there has to be recognition of the Rohingya identity and their legal status and their fundamental rights in Myanmar, including citizenship. There has to be an acknowledgement and an accounting for the wrongdoing. And to get there, we have to get the key entities together, perhaps through, as Mr. Saeed Hamid Elbar suggested, a joint working group. That approach is not very different from what UNHCR proposes in the solidarity approach. It's not very different from what is set out in the Global Compact on refugees in terms of the four main objectives there. And I think a lot of the specific ideas that have come out of this two-day event will inform our approaches going forward. So the challenge now is to move to action, to implementation of the efforts to achieve that sustainable solution. And I look forward to doing that all with all of you. Thank you so much for asking us.
Thank you, Mr. Bolton. And thank you for being here to be our partner with UNHCR. We really appreciate the support that you've provided to make this conference possible. Now I would like to invite Ms. Shoko Ishikawa. She is the acting resident representative of the United Nations in Bangladesh. Ms. Ishikawa has over 15 years of experience working with the UN Women. Prior to her current assignment in Bangladesh, she was the country representative of UN Women, Vietnam. Please give her a warm welcome.
Distinguished guests and colleagues, I am actually here speaking today on behalf of the UN Resident Coordinator, Ms. Mia Seppo, who sends her sincere apologies that she can't be with you here today. I'd like to start by thanking the North-South University, particularly Catherine Lee, the conference convener, and UNHCR for organizing this fantastic conference. Although I was not able to join the sessions today, I was here yesterday throughout the day and was able to listen to highly stimulating presentations and views from the keynote speaker of yesterday, Dr. Syed Hamid Elbar, former Minister of Malaysia, the Foreign Secretary Shahidul Haq, colleagues from UNHCR and IOM, and also I want to mention the Rohingya representative, Ms. Razia Sultan, and there were many, many others also. The conference has provided an invaluable opportunity for us to learn from policymakers, diplomats, leading academics, and practitioners and students, all working towards the common goal of a sustainable solution to the Rohingya crisis. I look forward to seeing the discussions developed into papers in coming weeks, which will in turn hopefully influence policymakers and guide our collective thinking. I would also like to express my honor to be sharing this closing session with the chief guest, Mr. Abdul Momen, the Honorable Foreign Minister of Bangladesh. The tireless efforts of him and the ministry to secure sustainable solutions and to demand accountability for the Rohingya through the government's bilateral and multilateral diplomatic engagements in a very principled manner is highly appreciated by the international community. Allow me to say a few words on behalf of the United Nations to how we see the challenges and sustainable solutions, which echoes much as what we have heard throughout the two-day conference. Firstly, I would like to express our deep thanks to the government and people of Bangladesh for their visible gesture of humanity in allowing more than 700,000 Rohingya to seek safety here. Under the government's leadership, the UN remains deeply committed to supporting Bangladesh to respond to the needs of refugees and affected host communities. Our objectives are clear: to collectively deliver protection to refugee women, men, girls, and boys, to provide life-saving assistance to affected populations, and to foster social cohesion. We now have 9 UN agencies operating in Cox's Bazar, working with more than 100 partners towards these objectives and to provide assistance, including food, shelter support, basic supplies, and protection, with a very strong focus on the specific needs of women and children. The constraints of large-scale displacement and the congestion in the camps has called for the creativity of all partners. For example, innovative interagency projects such as SAFE are addressing the cooking fuel needs of families to reduce the environmental effects. Liquid petroleum gas is being provided to hundreds of thousands of families to eliminate the need of trees to be cut down and for women and children to make long and risky journeys to collect it. This is also contributing to reducing the tension with the host community. However, the UN's humanitarian activities and projects for 2019 are currently only funded 1/3. More support is urgently needed to sustain our work, including more investments to be allowed to enable Rohingyas to become more self-reliant and less dependent on the relief handed out to them. The outcomes of the successful refugee response in Cox's Bazar is a result of a truly collective effort, which have been shaped and driven by the refugees themselves. Their resilience and determination in the face of the most extreme adversities is something we can all learn from. And it is imperative that we keep their voice central to the decisions that affect their lives, from listening to their hopes and aspirations for the future to supporting them to respond to and meet the needs of their own communities. This must be underpinning everything that we do. Secondly, we also very much agree that solutions and responsibility for this crisis lie with Myanmar, and refugees must be able to exercise their right to voluntary return home in safe, dignified, and sustainable conditions. The UN takes this right very seriously and continues to encourage and support Myanmar in creating conditions that would allow for the sustainable return of refugees, including through the implementation of the UNHCR and UNDP Memorandum of Understanding with the government of Myanmar. Refugees tell us they want to return home, but the conditions have to be right. While meaningful progress in Myanmar has been slow, the implementation of small, quick impact projects is ongoing, and we hope our access will be expanded to be able to contribute to meaningful change on the ground. We do not know exactly what the future holds for the Rohingya. However, based on the Foreign Secretary's remarks in yesterday's session, we do know that Bangladesh will continue to champion peace and protection for the Rohingya until solutions are secured. We, the UN in Bangladesh, will continue to support the government and people of this generous country every step of the way until refugees can live the lives they deserve and secure the rights that they are entitled to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ishikawa. Now I would like to please invite Mr. Benajir Ahmed, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of North-South University. Mr. Benajir Ahmed is a successful and visionary business personality of Bangladesh. Mr. Ahmed served as President Dhaka Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Please welcome him to the podium.
Good afternoon to everybody. The chairperson of the session, Professor Atikul Islam, Honorable Vice Chancellor, North-South University, Chief Guest of this closing session, Excellency Ambassador A.K.M. Abdul Momin, MP, Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs. I found his dynamism when he was the permanent ambassador to the UN mission of Bangladesh in New York. Our keynote speaker of this international conference, Excellency Syed Hamid Al-Bark, Honorable former Foreign Minister, Defense Minister, Law Minister, and international renowned personality. Our best friend now. Okay, sir. Thank you. Please give him a good hand. The representative from UNHCR, Mr. Alistair Boulton, and UN Acting Representative, Ms. Soko Ishikawa. Dignitaries, faculty members, and my dear media representative. North-South University, ranked number 1 and the first private university of the country, deserves a lot of social responsibility. On that, our South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance, in collaboration with UNHCR, have organized this international conference on Rohingya crisis in Bangladesh, challenges and sustainable solution. This is a topic of last 2 years for Bangladesh. But the topics is not only for 2 years. It is few decades what the Rohingya Arakan people are facing in their own country. Maybe on humanitarian ground, our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina allowed and gave them shelter in Bangladesh. That does not mean that we'll bear this situation for unlimited time. When the incident happened in August 2017, it was one of my opportunity to be with our Honorable Prime Minister to the 72nd UN General Assembly to United Nations to New York. And she put down 5 points demand for the solution of this crisis. There was no progress. And again in 73rd UN General Assembly, I was also fortunate to be UN headquarters on that session. She placed again that demand to the international community. If there is any humanity in the world community must respond. This is not the only any responsibility for Bangladesh. This should be the responsibility for the world community. Last 2 days, different resource persons, including our keynote speaker, has given their suggestions how we can resolve these issues. We hope we'll prepare one declaration after this conference. Our Honorable Foreign Minister, it is our request, please convey this message to the world community, and the representative from different corners who are present here, including our media friends, please publicize this so that the world community, we can get their response. North-South University is committed to organize this sort of international conference, national or international issues in the future also. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to offer my thanks and gratitude to all the participants, the resource persons, media personalities, for your kind cooperation. In the future, we'll continue our efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Tan Sri Syed Hamid Albar, who was a senior Malaysian government minister in the 1990s and 2000. He was the Minister for Home Affairs, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Minister for Defense, and Minister for Justice. Please give him a very warm welcome back to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good evening. Madam MC, His Excellency Foreign Minister Abdul Momen of People's Republic of Bangladesh, the Honorable Mr. Benazir Ahmad, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Ms. Shoko Ishikawa, Representative of the United Nations, Mr. Alistair Bolton, the Vice Chancellor of the North-South University, Professor Atikul Islam, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're on the panel as discussion, and most importantly are my children. As I'm at 75, all the universities are my children. Of course, the person that made me know the North-South University, and I think pressuring me to take part, Dr. Taufik, because to tell you frankly, when I received an email from Dr. Taufik, I said, then I got in touch with Nurul. I said, this North-South University is a private university. Why should they invite me? But I thought they were earnest, they were serious, and the subject that they have chosen is a very interesting because of the dynamics of it with our current affairs. I'm not going to talk very long, but I just want to say how grateful I am. I think I should thank you, the North-South University, for excellent arrangement. I think for your warm hospitality and the friendliness that you have shown to a person like me who hasn't been to Bangladesh for a long time. So I think everything went very well from the time I came out of the airport. There was somebody. I'm at the hotel, there was somebody. And the wonderful thing that I have not seen in any university, this is my own experience, is your students who have volunteered, and they are always with smiling faces and always willing to show us around. Thank you. I think actually it's not me delivering my keynote. What I wanted when I attend anything is I will ask the most important question, is there light at the end of the tunnel? And I think there is light at the end of the tunnel by the interest and the seriousness of your discussion. Thank you. And I would also like to say that today I shouldn't be talking about what I wanted to. I have actually learned so much. Not that I have delivered any keynote that is worth anything, but the learning process to me was tremendous. The discussion that I had, not at the center of the hall, but at the margin of this conference, was enriching to me. So thank you all once again. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure the theme that you have chosen and the workshop, parallel workshop that you did, I am sure you will come up with something that is very constructive, something that is productive, and I'm sure it shows the support of the government to North-South University by the very presence of the foreign minister today to close our important conference. So once again, if there is anything that I've done that is unbecoming, I like to seek your forgiveness. If there is anything that I've done that is not sufficient or beyond your expectation, but my expectation was fully fulfilled and I have been enriched, and I will always remember this experience. Thank you very much.
Dr. Albar, I would like to just confirm that you are a true gentleman, and you did nothing wrong, and you added sunshine to our conference, and I want to thank you personally for attending. I found the conversations with you very stimulating and very humbling, so thank you. Well, what we've been waiting for, what has the conference summed up? I'm extremely delighted at this point to introduce someone I consider to be brilliant and very, very serious about research, Dr. Norman Suazo. He is the director of our Office of Research at North-South University, and he has the privilege of presenting to you the concluding statement by the Conference Organizing Committee of North-South University. Would you please warmly welcome Dr. Norman Suazo to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, distinguished guests on the dais, Your Excellency, Foreign Minister of Bangladesh. After 2 days of intense discussion in 37 parallel sessions involving 175 presenters from 20 countries, and plenaries engaging academics, government officials, and practitioners from the field, the organizing committee committed itself to providing this overview statement at the concluding session of the conference. It is important to provide the concerned public with a perspective on what was learned in this important meeting about both the challenges and the prospects for sustainable solution to the Rohingya crisis. The participants of the conference continue to believe, as was asserted even at the inception of the conference, that humanitarian action and national and regional security are inextricably linked. A feasible solution to the humanitarian crisis will have positive effect on the national security of the two principal countries involved, as well as for regional political stability. Further, it is broadly recognized that while there are complex moral and legal issues of human rights to be settled, we uphold the principles of non-refoulement and responsibility to protect persons rendered stateless due to armed conflict and forced displacement. We also assert a principled commitment to the undeniable fact that the Rohingya are a self-identifying ethnic group having verifiable historical roots in the territories from which they have been displaced. Accordingly, the Rohingya people have fundamental human rights that are to be protected as a matter of international law. We believe this to be so despite customary recognition of national sovereignty central to the policies adopted by both the government of Bangladesh and the government of Myanmar as they work to resolve the crisis. The challenges. Conference presenters have identified the following challenges facing policymakers as they work to resolve the current crisis. It is a challenge for all concerned to work to assure that the present crisis does not remain in situ, so that it sets a precedent for future forced displacement and lacks legal accountability for the injustice of ethnic cleansing and investigation for crimes against humanity and genocide. Assuming a realized prospective solution to the crisis through repatriation, all concerned actors need to plan for economic adaptation that integrates the Rohingya within the Myanmar economy. There is a growing transformation of the problem from a short-term humanitarian relief response to a problem of geopolitics involving major powers. There remains the central, unresolved problem within Myanmar of coordination of a strategy of ethnic cleansing involving state officials and security forces, Rakhine nationalist civil society, and Buddhist monks, all of which elements posit a fear of demographic transition that would increase Myanmar's Muslim population to the detriment of a stridently Buddhist nationalist ethos. This nationalist religiocentric perception is not readily altered by actors external to Myanmar. There are 3 stages of struggle in Myanmar that will affect the prospective outcome of the present crisis. A, the quest for human rights. B, states within Myanmar seeking autonomy within recognition of ethnic minority rights. And C, the slow pace of incremental democratization in a context of civilian rule that uneasily accommodates the military. There remains an unexamined security problem of informal ARSA presence in the Rohingya camps in Bangladesh, as well as an unsupervised, informal, and extrajudicial process of dispute resolution. The international community must work to avoid both donor fatigue and compassion fatigue, as the lack of resettlement of the Rohingya continues to require significant amounts of humanitarian assistance. Pathways to sustainable solution. The plight of the Rohingya calls for both our empathy and our sympathy, thus to motivate our unceasing response to the moral imperatives that insist on secure and peaceful return of the Rohingya to their rightful home. Accordingly, conference presenters have offered the following possible pathways to sustainable solution of the current crisis. The near unanimous sense of the participants in this conference is that there is only one practicable and just solution to the crisis that assures Myanmar's state responsibility under international law: the dignified repatriation of the Rohingya to their homeland in Myanmar. Although some propose that the Rohingya be offered the interim opportunity for third country settlement with right of return to Myanmar on the basis of lawfully guaranteed citizenship and unimpeded civil rights. It is recommended that repatriation occur on the basis of the 5-point solution Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina presented at the United Nations on 21 September 2017, including the expectation that Myanmar abolish discriminatory laws and policies that conduce to ethnic cleansing. Efforts should be made to reach out to the people of Myanmar to project Bangladesh's as well as the Rohingyas' narratives, if possible, in their language. Any feasible solution should involve productive engagement of the major actors, including the governments of Myanmar and Bangladesh, ASEAN, UN agencies, and representatives of the Rohingya, working jointly in pursuit of a comprehensive plan of phased repatriation that seeks to implement the objectives of the Global Compact on Refugees of 2018. International actors should work with the government of Myanmar to establish a genuine Federal Union of Myanmar with guaranteed Rohingya citizenship and respect for their fundamental human rights, including their right as a legally recognized ethnic group. While proposals for local integration may seemingly solve Bangladesh's problem of serving as a host country for the Rohingya in the camps in the southeast of the country, the fact is that this proposal does not respond to the Rohingyas' expressed desire to maintain their social solidarity and geographic cohesion as an ethnic group having rights to land within Myanmar. The international community should consider, along with repatriation of the Rohingya, both compensation and restitution to the Rohingya community, as well as reasonable reparation to Bangladesh for the costs it has sustained during this humanitarian crisis. Respectively submitted, the organizing committee members of North-South University. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suazo. And copies of this document are available and will be distributed. And once again, I would like to thank you for reading it to the audience. It was very thoughtful and very thought-provoking. And I think you did a nice job summarizing. Thank you so much. So at this point, I would like to invite our chief guest, His Excellency, Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, MP and Foreign Minister of the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Prior to his current assignment, Dr. Momen was the Ambassador Extraordinary and Permanent Representative PR of Bangladesh to the United Nations from August 2009 to November 2015. During this period at the UN, Dr. Momen also served various UN offices in different capacities, such as the chair of the LDC Group, President of UNICEF Executive Board, President of UN Office of South-South Cooperation, Vice President of ECOSOC, Chair and Vice Chair of the Peacebuilding Commission, Vice President of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, etc. Dr. Momen is a seasoned academician who has a long academic career. Dr. Momen was the professor and chair of the Department of Economics and Business at Framingham State University, Massachusetts. Would we please give him a very warm welcome to the podium, sir?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. After this long list, I don't know what to speak about. And I'm so glad I see all the experts all around me. So I don't know how among these experts, what should I talk about? But I'm very pleased and I'm thankful to the North-South University and UNHCR for organizing this event. Last week, I was very pleased that Harvard University organized a similar event on Rohingya issues. And also, last week, the Brack University did another event. So this is good beginning. This is good. I like it. Because being a teacher, I like issues to be discussed in the university campuses to create real, strength and force. Many years ago, when I was visiting Virginia, I read a little sentence which is written in the graveyard of Robert F. Kennedy. And it says, if you fight for a right cause, then someone else will join you. And then another one, and then another one. And in the process, many more will join. And when many more, millions will join, such will create such a strong force that the strongest of the tyrant is sure to fall. And I like these meetings because this would create public awareness and strength to resolve the issues. The strongest and mightiest of the tyrants will fall when such public awareness will be created. So I love this sort of discussions and fact-finding issues. Let me start with this, you all have received it. They have just provided me when I arrived here. And I like it. It says facts and figures about Rohingya influx in Bangladesh in 2017. It's basically talk about 2017. And it says 116,000 Rohingyas were beaten. At least 800,000 Rohingya fled from Myanmar. A textbook example of ethnic cleansing, UNHCR. 43,000 received gunshot wounds, 18,000 were raped, 25,000 Rohingya were murdered, 300 Rohingya villages were burned down. I would like to, being a teacher, we have a bad habit. So when student prepares a paper, we always try to advise them. So being a teacher, I would like to advise that maybe you could add that, around 116,000 homes were destroyed, 120,000 homes were burned down, 87,000 people were, Rohingyas was forced out, not in 2017, but 2016. And then this is, you have written it, 300 villages, okay. And prior to that, prior to 2017, there have been another 300,000 Rohingya have been forced out of their own land and have been staying in Bangladesh, totaling 1.1 million Rohingya are currently being sheltered in 6,800 acres of land in our, the Cox's Bazar area. 1.1 million, which is more than double of the, almost more than double of the total population of the Cox's Bazar. So this is creating a lot of problems. Anyway, I don't want to talk about those problems. I would try to restrict my discussion on few issues. Prior to that, I must thank this Tanshiri Datu, Dr. Syed Hamid Albar, former foreign minister of Malaysia, Mr. Shoko Ishikawa, representative of the UN resident coordinator, Mr. Alistair Bolton of UNHCR, Professor Atikul Islam, Vice Chancellor, North-South University, Mr. Benazir Ahmed, very dynamic chair of the Board of Trustees of North-South University, and Professor Norman Suazo of North-South University for giving a good briefing that around 175 papers were they received many more, but 175 papers were accepted for discussion. I thank all of you for attending it and organizing such a great event. Now, my talk could be, I don't know what to talk about. Of late, I've been talking a lot about it. So I thought I should limit my discussion on these issues. One, by providing a temporary shelter to Bangladesh Prime Minister, in fact, helped avoiding second largest genocide in the world since World War II. If she would not have given them shelter, the result would have been much worse, and that would have been a shame to the global leadership. Because we have been asking, the global leaders have been asking over the years that never again, unfortunately, actions are not being taken so that such thing never happens again. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, out of humanity, gave them shelter. In the process, she helped avoiding such a great genocide. Second issue is about Myanmar created this problem, and solution also lies with Myanmar. So naturally, we have to talk about it, this issue, basically with Myanmar. But if they don't listen to us, then we would like others to talk about it, because we provided temporary shelter. But it's a global responsibility to help solve this problem. We may be talking to Myanmar bilaterally, but we need global leadership to come forward and somehow convince Myanmar to resolve these issues. And next one, this is not an easy problem. It's a complex problem. But yet I'm always optimistic and I'm hopeful of a resolution of it. The other one, of course, if the problem drags on for a longer time, it's likely to create uncertainty. And if there is uncertainty, there is a possibility of pockets of radicalism and other things, which might lead to, in the fact, we all know that economy cannot flourish in uncertainty and war-like situations. If there is uncertainty, then many countries which are currently investing in Myanmar, more so in Myanmar, their investment could go in vain. So we should solve this problem as soon as possible. So these are the areas. As you know, we're taking care of them. this 1.1 million, I am thankful to government of Bangladesh because there is no outbreak of large-scale disease or massacre. Government has controlled it very nicely. I remember when I was in India in 1971, there was cholera epidemic, and it was so difficult to manage it. But this is something nobody looks today, that 1.1 million being housed within this 6,800 acres of land, and everybody is well fed, and there is no disease or death. This is a unique thing thanks to Bangladesh government and its management expertise. The government of Bangladesh provided out of the 6,800, half of them were the bushes, the forest, and they have destroyed it. It affected our environment badly. But another beautiful thing is the government of Bangladesh created this so many housing and good drainage system. Even the other day when there was heavy rain, I was visiting this place. Although many houses were destroyed due to landslide, yet the drainage and others were working beautifully. Thanks to UNHCR, IOM, and of course the government of Bangladesh for doing an excellent job. So we have this problem. The things are moving very slow. Many countries which should have come forward is coming like a snail's pace. Everyone was like to give a, shake hand. It's a thank you for doing such a good job. But to solve the problem, the emotions, the forthright attitude that we would otherwise expect is missing. Good news is, recently I discussed this issue with our neighbor, like India. The big support of Myanmar, which is China. We discussed this issue with Russian Federation. We discussed this issue with, of course, UN Secretary General. Secretary General is a teethless, bull. He cannot do anything without the support of P5. And among the P5, there is no compromise. And therefore, his hands are tied. And in addition, this problem did not crop up in one day. It has been building over many, many years. People responsible, they did not talk much about it. Because as in Bangladesh, we believe all hate, violence and wars emanate from a mindset of intolerance, mindset of hatred. And over the last many years, this mindset of hatred is being promoted in Myanmar. Hatred against this small group, Rohingya. There have been 135 ethnic groups in Myanmar. Unfortunately, this is one group which has been identified very precisely, and they have been, they have not been recognized even as a minority group, as an ethnic group. And all sorts of propaganda machine are let loose against these people. They are not being treated as human beings. Over the last so many years, they have been denied of all the basic rights, including right to vote, their citizenship right. But the global leadership did not come forward on this issue. In 1982, when their citizenship rule, new citizenship rule enunciated, there should be hue and cry, because we don't want stateless people, yet there was not much hue and cry. So this build up over the years, that's why we want all the media and everyone to create a mindset of tolerance. And media can help us a lot. Academy, this cannot be. We need to avoid all sorts of violence and wars and terrors across nations. It is imperative to create a mindset of tolerance, to create a mindset of respect for each other, irrespective of color, ethnicity, background, or religion. If we can do it, we can hope to have a sustainable world of peace and stability across nations. We will not have that many refugees across nations. Last 2 years, one of the worst year in the world, because so many people have become homeless. And it's basically because of creating a sense of hatred, and that even comes out of ignorance at times. So I would request the Academy, because to create a mindset of tolerance and respect for others cannot be done alone by government. Everyone has to be involved. The parents, the teachers, the academy, the community leaders, of course, great leaders, opinion builders, talk show hosts and talk show opinion builders, all have to come forward, and media have to come forward to create such a mindset. I'm sorry, I'm moving away from the main topic of Rohingya, but if you look at one of the root causes of violence across nations is because of creating this hatred. Anyway, so first is, we have a big problem. And all other countries that I mentioned, of late, there is some positive development. Russia or China, who had the threat of veto, now is moving much more closer to resolving the issue. China, as I understand, finally agreed that if this problem drags on for a longer time, there is a possibility of creating uncertainty. And it happens, then many of the goals or the roadmap that countries has designed, those may be faltered or may not be achieved. So we would like to tell everyone that if this problem lingers for a longer time, whether you want to have access to the Bay of Bengal or Indian Ocean, whether you want to have free flow of easy gas supply or connectivity, those could be jeopardized. And therefore, it is not only for us, it is for your interest also. You must come forward in resolving this issue. I'm pleased that there is a sense now that this problem should be resolved. Myanmar is very allergic to any international, what should I say, involvement in their Rakhine province. However, I have suggested, not formally, but informally, we just knocked, this idea that if you are so allergic to the Western, governments or forces, how about pick up your own friend? The ASEAN is your friend. China is your friend. India is your friend. And they all have leverage on Myanmar. So let's, put up some non-military, some observers of the ASEAN countries. I call it ASEAN plus countries in the Rakhine province, basically to give an assurance of safety and security to the Rohingya people so that they can, they can be persuaded to go back to their land of origin. Now, this could be a way out to resolve the issues, because there, as I understand, there is a trust deficit between the Rohingya people and the Myanmar government. The Rohingya don't trust them, and there is ample reason why they don't trust them. They have been massacred, so they don't trust them. So one way to develop that trust is ask some other observers to be within the Rakhine province and give assurance and guarantee of their safety and security so that they can go back. And also allow their human rights, the rights to free mobility, rights to be educated, rights to have a living. If those are not being guaranteed, those people may not be willing to go back. Bangladesh do not want to force them back to Myanmar. We want them to go voluntarily in safety and security and in dignity. So the issue is not simple to resolve. It cannot be resolved alone by, only by discussing bilaterally with Bangladesh and Myanmar. We need other people who are responsible. We need global leadership that are responsible to come forward in resolving, help us in resolving this issue. Eventually, it is Bangladesh and Myanmar. We have a good tradition. Bangladesh has a good tradition. Bangladesh is one of the countries in the world that has resolved its issues with neighbors to discussion and dialogue. Look at in our relationship with India. We solve very critical issues, like our water sharing of the Ganges with India, our problem with the border demarcation of India, our problem with marine demarcation with India. All we resolve through discussion and dialogue. Therefore, I call it's the height of the maturity of the leadership within these two countries. We also resolved our issue with Myanmar through dialogue and through the help of international community. For example, in the case of our marine border with Myanmar, we resolved it with Myanmar with the help of UNO, ITLAWS. We also resolved some of our issues with Myanmar through bilateral discussion and dialogue. In 1978, there was exodus of Rohingya people to Bangladesh. In 1992, 91, 92, there have been 255,000 Rohingya came to Bangladesh. But through dialogue and discussion, we sent them around 230,000, we sent them back. Myanmar took them back. So we have the historical, experience of working together through bilateral negotiations. I hope now also, it is right time now, we can resolve this issue. But the only problem is number is not 255,000, is 5 times of it. It's a staggering number. But whatever it is, if there is a mindset, we can solve it. I'm told that in Nepedo, there is a political will to take them back. And let me hope this materializes. Today, right now, a group of leadership from Myanmar is visiting Bangladesh. The basic reason they came, in our last meeting with them, we asked them to send their leadership and talk to the Rohingya leadership in Bangladesh. Speak to them what conducive environment they have created within Rakhine province. Because it is the obligation of Myanmar to create conducive environment within the Rakhine province so that these people can repatriate, go back to their home. So now their leadership is here. They're talking to their Myanmar people and they're assuring what sort of, the arrangement they have made. And they have to convince them. And if they can convince, issue is not easy. Because prior to convincing, these guys had other issues which you would raise. We are interested that they should discuss this, and we will help facilitate them to take back their, displaced people from Myanmar. If it lingers, as I said, it may create uncertainty and pockets of radicalism. And as you know, the radicalism terrorist has no boundary. They move around. They don't live, they don't have a religion, they don't have a nationhood, they don't believe in anything, and they have no boundary. It could spread across the whole region, and the uncertainty may affect every country within this region, Bangladesh and its neighborhood. Therefore, the ASEAN countries, India, China, everyone should come forward to resolve these issues. There is another alternative at time being suggested to us, that there are some authorities who would like to use some force, but Bangladesh believe in peace. We would like to resolve this issue through peace. We don't want to go to war on this issue, because worse is worse than this problem. So we would like to resolve this issue through peaceful means, through bilateral negotiation, and let's pray for it. I am always optimist. I think we can resolve this issue. It may take time, but the problem is if it takes longer time, the issue would be more complex and more difficult. Thank you all. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring speech. Now I would like to call Professor Atikul Islam, Professor, Vice Chancellor of North-South University. Sir, would you come to the podium and share your thoughts at the end of this conference? Would you please give Professor Atikul Islam, our Vice Chancellor, a warm round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. All good things come to an end, and so has this particular conference. Let me address the podium first. Our Honorable Foreign Minister, Dr. A.K. Momen MP, our Chair of the Board of Trustees, Mr. Benazir Ahmed, Tan Sri Datu Syed Muhammad Albar, ex-Foreign Minister, Home Minister, and Defense Minister of Malaysia. He is a high diplomat of Malaysia itself and ASEAN. Shoko Ishikawa, the resident UN representative, acting resident UN representative in Bangladesh, and Alistair Bolton, who has almost become a friend over the last 2 days here. He's a very nice fellow, said very good things about us. Now, this is not a time for me to give a speech. I'm not an expert on Rohingya problem either. All I want to say is I thank the organizers of this conference for planning it, for dreaming about it, for making it happen so nicely. I thank each and everyone who has presented a paper here, got their papers accepted, those who came all the way from different countries of the world, presented their papers, participated in the workshops, plenary sessions, and enriched our knowledge on this issue tremendously. I have learned so much from it. I thank particularly Professor Sheikh Tawfiq and even Catherine for working so hard. I thank all the volunteers. I thank all the guests, and I am also thankful to my Board of Trustees who have given us such strong backing on all matters. So I also particularly thank our Foreign Minister. He just came back from the UK and we are so busy, but he still didn't say no to us. He came and shared his views and all that he knows that we didn't know with us. That's fantastic. So once again, North-South University will miss you. Those of you who have come from outside, we will all miss you. We hope that we could look after you adequately. And if you need any help from this point on, in terms of your, whatever preparation, transport, please let us know. Once again, NSU is grateful to you all. And on behalf of NSU, I bid you farewell, what should I say, with a very sorry kind of a mind. Thank you. With a heavy heart. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to, before I start giving some thanks to people, I would like to be bold, and I would like to respond to His Excellency Dr. Momen's call to action. And I would like to invite Mr. Benazir Ahmed, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor to seriously consider the proposal that we have written for a Center for Peace Studies to be located under the South Asia Institute for Policy and Governance. I think it's very clear that this university is ready to handle such a task and be engaged on these issues and many other big issues that have to do with the region, that have to do with the world. So, sir, we'd like to present a proposal to you, and I would request that you kindly consider it so that we can be involved in this very important engagement of peace building and conflict resolution in making these issues come to a smooth conclusion peacefully, as the request of the foreign minister. We would like to support him in that effort. So now I would like to first of all thank our wonderful and generous partner, UNHCR. They have been tremendous. And they have supported us every step of the way. They have been partners side by side with us. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, Charlie, how much I appreciate it. Alistair, thank you so much for being here from Bangkok. We really appreciate you being here and supporting us. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the co-conveners of this conference, Dr. Bulbul Siddiqui, Dr. Jashimuddin, Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Rahman Bhuyan. Please give them a very big round of applause. They worked so hard. I'd also like to thank our coordinators from Political Science and Sociology, Mr. Saidor Rahman. Where is he? Saidor, I want you to stand up and show us who you are. He deserves a huge round of applause. I'd also like to thank Dr. Ishrat Zakia Sultana. Where is she? Did so much to make this conference smooth and successful. Thank you all. I'd also like to thank our advisory committee, which is a long list, including wonderful people who supported us along the way, all the chairs, discussants, and moderators. I'd like to thank all the departments at North-South University, from the administration all the way through all the different departments academically. I would like to thank the IMCA, all of these students. Oh my God! Can you believe what they did for this conference? It's unbelievable. Every day, all day, they were here for you, day in and day out, and I am so grateful. Thank you very much. I'm also grateful to the Photography Club. Have you been down to visit the photographic exhibition and the exhibition of all of the children's drawings from the Rohingya camps? If you haven't seen that yet, please visit. It's a wonderful exhibition. So I want to thank the Photography Club for that. They put in hours of their time to make that happen. I'd also like to thank Sanskriti Shantom for their beautiful cultural program the other night. Oh my God, I couldn't stop crying. It was so beautiful. Obviously, I would like to give some special thanks to our very honorable guest, Dr. Tan Sri Syed Hamid Albar, former Minister for Home Affairs in Malaysia. Please give another round clap for him. Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen, Foreign Minister. Please give him a big clap. Sir, thank you so much for being with us. We had the Honorable State Minister yesterday for the Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief. Let's please give him another clap. We also had the Foreign Secretary with us, Mr. Mohammed Shahidul Haq. He was wonderful and very, very engaging, I would say. He really was with us the whole entire day, and I appreciated that a lot. I would like to give an extremely heartfelt thanks to Ms. Razia Sultana. Would you please stand up? I was really, really moved by your speech, and frankly, as the only Rohingya voice in the conference, I think you were an incredible and are an incredible ambassador for your people, and I honor your courage, and you can always reach out to me personally if I can help you in any way, and I want to thank you for the books that you gave to me. Thank you so much. I'd like to, and there's so many, I don't think I can do it one by one, but I'd like to thank all the delegates from the United Nations, from all the other distinguished guests from the People's Republic of Bangladesh, the government people, all of the ambassadors, current ambassadors, retired ambassadors who came and really contributed as chairs, as discussants, as speakers. They really added a lot of value to our program, and we appreciate it a lot. SIPG, the Department of Political Science and Sociology, obviously you can see what they can do. Can we give them a round of applause? And finally, I would definitely like to express my gratitude, Mr. Emek Hashem. You're like my grandfather, and obviously you mean a lot to me, and you mean a lot to North-South University, and I want to thank you for always being there for us. And I want to thank all of our Board of Trustees members for being with us, our Vice Chancellor, our advisor to the conference committee again, and may we, Professor Tolfika, could you please come up on the stage? Yes, it's needed. This is my partner in crime for this conference. We went through a lot to make it happen, and I just want to acknowledge him publicly. Thank you all the presenters. Thank you all for coming, and please join us in this effort to establish a Center for Peace Studies at North-South University. We have certificates for the presenters, and if what we're going to do is we're going to pass them out, I think. So we're going to have a few people helping me to pass them out. So I'm going to formally close the program right now, and if you'd like to stay and collect your certificate, please do. So with that, thank you all very, very much.